Hey guys, good morning. Happy Saturday. It's Daryl here. It's 7 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. And yes, I'm smiling. I've got some better stuff to talk about for this video. All right, this Sunday, there's going to be an internet convention at 4 p.m. for the Movement for the People's Party. In my own words, it seems kind of like a continuation of the Bernie campaign, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. It's a third party kind of a like I said, a continuation of Bernie Sanders. It's a breakaway from the Democrat Party. Hashtag Demexit if you want to look that up, if you haven't heard about this already. And I really like what I'm hearing from them. As for this election in 2020, they're saying kind of their outlook is kind of, you could vote your conscience, but the primary goal here is to get Donald Trump out of office first and foremost, which I can't agree with more. And really, it seems like the focus is more on 2022 and 2024 elections, trying to develop a third party. There's some guest speakers: Danny Glover, Susan Sarandon, Marianne Williamson. I'm sorry. Nick Brana is the organizer of this convention on Sunday. And so I was listening. I understand democratic socialism and everything. I've always agreed wholeheartedly on universal health care. And I don't have any children. So I was thinking about universal education or universal higher education. And I started thinking about why it is that we have publicly funded or government funded kindergarten through 12 education, but not any higher. And I really started to think about that. How come, why there's a lot of right-wing people, Trump supporters, that say, well, I don't want to pay for your kids' education, pay for your own kids' education and all that. And I started thinking, well, what if that was the outlook on all of education? What if there was no funding for kindergarten through 12? And why is it that we have funding through kindergarten through 12? And I started thinking about that. What if you couldn't get any education at all, period, if you didn't have money? And I started thinking, and that's because you would have a bunch of people that really can't function in society, that would be functionally illiterate. In other words, they wouldn't be any good to society. They'd have a hard time earning a living. And I really started thinking about that some more, and why it is that we don't have education, continued education. Why? Because it's obviously for the good of society. I mean, how can more doctors not be a better thing? How can not having a better educated society not be a better thing? And of course, the light bulb went off. Of course, there's a certain level, a certain 1% of people, the elite, wealthy people in this country that don't want a very educated. They want certain people to have the best educations, but there's another. They want the working class or the poverty level to have just enough education so that they don't have to depend on society for handouts, so that they can get out there and do the hard labor, do the tough jobs that this top 1% counts on. It's almost like minimum wage slavery. The education just enough. We want to educate them just enough to get them out there, so they're not depending, actually, because if we don't give them any education, they won't be functional, and they'll be depending on the government or on society, so they won't be of any use to the elite 1%, that top 1%. So they give them just enough education so they can get out there and do the hard jobs, do the menial tasks, the labor, and everything else. But you don't want to give them the higher education. You don't want to give them more education of the world, of politics, of history, because those people are dangerous. It's easier to use people that just have a very basic education. And I started thinking about that some more. And we have so many people nowadays that believe the craziest theories, conspiracy theories, and then believe everything that this administration is telling them, even if they don't even believe what they see with their own eyes. And it all made sense on why right now we seem to have, just enough basic education to get people out there and get them producing and doing the hard jobs, or the jobs that they get the top 1% keep their world spinning. They need that. And then why it is that, well, then if you want any further education, you have to have a considerable bank account. And it starts to all make sense. They don't want all of society educated on the world, on politics, on critical thinking. They want people that just have a basic, just enough education so they can get out, get a job, function on their own, not depend on the government, and break their back, pay taxes, and believe whatever that top 1% tells them. And it all made sense as to why. Why some people are willing to pay for kindergarten through 12th grade schooling, but not above that, just enough to get them out there and keep the world spinning, but not enough to be a threat. Just enough to get them out there, but not enough so they start questioning authority, start doing that critical thinking. And I think that's why we have so many people nowadays that believe in these insane theories. The one that involves the pizza restaurant, and this insane stuff that why we have people that believe that the earth might be flat. That this is why. It would be for the better of society. I really started thinking about this. If we had a better educated society, it just makes sense. But probably it would be a threat. It would be a threat to the people on the very top, because they need the people at the bottom to keep their world turning. Anyway, back to this. It's Sunday, 4 o'clock on the internet. The movement for the MPP, movement for the People's Party, a third party. And it looks, like I said, I like the fact that their main goal here is to get Trump out right now. I'm sure a lot of these people are probably going to be voting their conscience, which I personally find a little scary, a little troubling. I think in this situation it is so imperative that Trump be voted out that I don't feel there's room for a conscience in this one. And then they started talking about how their goal would be to kind of light a fire, if Biden were to be elected, to kind of light a fire under them, to keep moving things to the left. And with more of an outlook towards 2022 and 2024 as to achieving their goals of having a third party or more parties up and running, like the People's Party, movement for the People's Party. So I'm excited about this. It's good. It's a viable. They're talking about how Democrats and Republicans have really become different sides of the same coin, which we all know. And they really can't work. They can't really function and represent working people when they're beholden to corporations and lobbyists and all this. It's not much of a choice. So I was excited about this. Sunday, 4 o'clock, Movement for People's Party. Check it out, convention. All right, you guys have a good Saturday.